This is Dr. Fastlane. Very few people I know have the skill and the expertise to build a masterpiece, a work of art, something that imprints on your brain when you look at it and you can never forget it no matter how hard you try. Well, I'm lucky to be here at this place. Look at this beautiful ranch-style house and this gorgeous garage door. Now, behind these doors, you are not going to believe what I'm going to show you. There is something crazy. A piece of art is waiting right there. Let's go. Abracadabra! And look at that creature, this yellow, beautiful truck. And this is Rex. Rex, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Well, I'm good. I'm honored, sir, to see you here in this beautiful garage with this beautiful creature.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad y'all are here.
Pleasure is all mine. So, guys, I've been lucky enough to get hold of Mr. Rex. He's a busy guy. But now today, since I'm here in this gorgeous garage, we will show you inside too in a moment of these garages and its trophies. Let's just talk about that later. So why don't you just go ahead and tell us about what caused you to build such a beauty like that? What's your past? What are your hobbies in the past? And how long it took you to do what you did to this thing?
I was born in New Mexico, Carlsbad, New Mexico, and I've always had a passion for vehicles. Was on a farm, always had trucks. When I was 6 years old, Dale Robertson, that used to be on Wells Fargo TV show, he was sponsored by General Motors.
I see.
They had his car at the GM dealership, and we went to see it, and it was a Buick convertible that had guns for door handles and a saddle in it and silver dollars, and I said, someday I'm going to have a truck like that. And then as I got a little bit older, I said, someday I'm going to have a truck like that, but I'm going to have a truck that'll outrun a car. And so it took a while, but I'm there, and it's just my passion. It's a family thing, and it's my testimony to the world of the talents that God has given me to be able to share with other people and the car culture. And
let me tell you, Rex, one thing. Anybody can go buy a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, a McLaren. You can be
speak for yourself.
Well, I'm not talking about myself, but I'm jealous. I'm jealous that somebody like you who has resurrected this thing from ashes, and it beats my Lamborghinis and Ferraris. I mean, I'm a car lover, and now I understand why my Lamborghini cannot ever win a car show, because when you have beauties like these in a car show, where you have put your blood and sweat and your soul into this thing, well, you got to win, and you have to win. So before we get there, you said you used to be, are you a woodworker too? But
I have done woodworking all my life. My great-grandfather was an artist and a taxidermist and made furniture and stuff, and my grandfather did, and I picked things up from them. But where I was raised and how I was raised, we didn't go buy anything, we built it. And so I just picked things up and learned it.
okay.
If I can get my grandkids to turn my computer on, I can get on YouTube and see how to do things today. But I couldn't see how that before. It was just necessity, and you learn and you do what you have.
Well, very well. So before it gets too dark, let's just start getting into the nitty-gritty of this truck. Let's start with the hood. If you don't mind me, have you open this, please. Now, my God, what am I looking at here? I don't even know what to say here. You very rarely out of my words and vocabulary, and I am at this point right now. I'm just, anyways, Rex. So, let's see. Please describe to me, what is this, first of all, this fire pants doing up there?
In the redneck culture, the cowboy culture, you have what they call roadkill stew. You're driving down the road, you hit a rabbit, you skin it, you put it on your engine and cook it and eat it.
Well, guys, look at this. This is the bacon in there.
So I've got my bacon and eggs always ready. This skillet's been in here for over 30 years.
Well, so this is for decor only. It's like part of the carburetor.
It's basically part of the breather for the fuel injection system.
Great, very artistic, I must say. you know.
Thank you.
And you said you were telling me earlier about you have a squirrel that you put on it, a
When I
critter.
do car shows, I have a squirrel that my great-grandfather was a taxidermist. He mounted it over 150 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I put that squirrel in the skillet and put onions and chili in there and roadkill stew. And everybody loves it. I quit doing it for a while. And every car show I went to, people said, "Where's the roadkill stew?" You know, and so it came back.
Well, let's talk about, so I know you're a big Coca-Cola fan. I think you used to work with for
Yes,
Coca-Cola
yes,
in the past. And I see Coca-Cola art up here. This is a cap, which is obviously a functioning cap. Then I see some Coca-Cola signs up there in a bottle on that area right at the back. And this. So can you just describe to us, Rex, what are these things in the truck?
Well, it's just when you talk about the car culture and car shows and hot rods in the 50s and the 60s, Coca-Cola is very much a part of it. So that's kind of what that was all about, plus my passion for Coca-Cola. I worked in a bottling plant for years in Carlsbad and then here in Las Cruces, and then they quit bottling Cokes.
I see.
But so I just have the passion about Coke, and it just goes with the hot rod 50-60 culture. This radiator reservoir right here is a whiskey jug that's over 200 years old.
This jug?
And my radiator, if I have an overflow, it will go into this jug and then siphon back into the radiator.
Man, this is amazing. Now, I see you have put some $50, the Kennedy $50 here.
Yes, sir.
What's the reason behind these?
Just basically covering up screws and holes and just trying to make everything look functional and not have screw heads and bolt heads everywhere, and just have a lot of the old coins. I have some coins on here from 1820s. So it's just to have all those on there and just kind of collecting on my truck.
Guys, come closer, guys. Let me show you something crazy. I'm going to right now ask Rex to show us the dipstick, and you will not believe what you're going to see. This is the dipstick to check the oil, but look at the end of this. You see a revolver. I mean, who puts that? Well, people like Rex who are artistic, who just want to be apart from others, who want to stand apart and look apart. That's what they do, and that's what I'm loving it. As I said, I would not find this kind of a revolver in a Lamborghini. All right? But the last time I checked, it wasn't there. I don't know now.
I don't think you'll find it now.
Okay. I own 3 Lamborghinis, but none of them had this kind of crazy, beautiful looking stuff. Now, I will let you now go. Feel free. Tell us more about the engine, please.
Okay, this is a 350 small block Chevrolet. It has a fuel injection system on it. It's a daily driver. I drive it every day. I drive it on highway. I've driven over 1,500 miles in this in 107-degree weather. It's just a daily driver, but it still has a little bit of go. I used to have an engine in it that ran 430 horse at the rear tires, and I ran a 1273 quarter. But I started getting older, and my wife got tired of me buying rear tires. I didn't, but she did. And so I had to put a clutch on myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I did this.
Yeah.
But I've always liked speed. I like the sound of speed. These little import cars, these new cars, they'll go fast in a quarter mile. But who wants to hear a bumblebee going down a quarter of a mile? I want to feel the ground shake and hear the roar.
It does. When you started that, to position that in the garage, man, this was loud. Now, so when you bought this truck, it wasn't like this, right? How was it? How was the body, and where did you find this thing?
I worked at a car dealership here in Las Cruces for 21 years, a Chevrolet Cadillac dealership. A man had bought this brand new here in Las Cruces in 1968 when it was new. In 1985, he came to trade it in. Both sides were caved in. Most all the paint was gone. There was rat's nest under the seat, a big hole in the seat with cardboard and carpet piled up. There was dirt and leaves this high across the dash. The padded dash wasn't even cracked because it was covered up with dirt and leaves. And so the used car manager wouldn't even get in it to appraise it. You know, he was afraid of it. And so I got it and just started from there. And it's evolved. I started with doing the interior and getting the engine going and everything. And it's involved a lot. You're never through with one of them, but this is probably as close as I'll ever be to being finished, because this was my vision to start with. But I didn't have a lot of money. I was working. I had kids in school. And so I needed to take my time in doing it and doing it right. So there's a lot of history in this. This wood came out of a house that my dad lived in when he was a kid that was 3.5 miles from the closest water, which is a creek. And 10 of them lived, or 12 of them lived in that house in Oklahoma.
So this is what is
That's
your
where
previous
that
house.
wood came from.
So that's part of the history.
That's part of the history of it. Like I say, this was came from my great grandfather.
Right.
That's why the age on that.
Right.
But I like the old school look with these fin valve covers and this type of thing. But also too, I have nothing that is stock or clump. Everything I have to do something to it to make it mine, to make it different.
Perfect. So if the camera can see it, I would like to show this little code up here. A man's got to have a code, a creed to live by. Very nice. And you just put it right spot on. This is the belt buckle for the right that you put in there. And then on top of that, let me see. This is the Chevrolet wheel cap. I think you can put up there.
That used to be where the heater core was.
Perfect.
There's no heater, no air conditioner in this, no power steering
Right.
in this truck.
Right. Now you were going to tell me something about this art that you put up here and some of the...
This truck is pretty much my testimony to show people the talent that the good Lord gave me to be able to share this with people.
I see.
Just like this Bible verse here, Psalms 100 verse 1.
Okay.
Let's lift a joyful noise unto the Lord. There's nothing more joyful than a 350 V8 with no mufflers on it going down the road.
Right.
That's my joyful noise.
Right.
But then I just have all the different sayings. If I real quick, my favorite saying and the best thing I can say to anybody is right here. 100 years from now, it won't matter who you thought you were, who I thought you were, how much money you had, what kind of truck you drove, how many cattle you had, how many bulls you rode, nor who your daddy was, but it will matter if you knew Jesus.
Okay.
This is off a 57 Chevy Bel Air.
Nice.
That's what this headlight, these are my signal lights. They work. This is off a 55 Chevy Bel Air, which I drove a 55 Chevy to high school. And so that's what this one is for.
Okay.
There's things hidden in this paint where if you get down and look,
Yeah, let's talk
you will
about...
see things. There's sometimes you can get in certain light and see it, and other times you can look all day long and never see it. Right here is an Indian on a horse. There's his headdress. There's the spear. There's the horse.
You're right.
That's in there.
Well, this is beautiful airbrush work. I mean, this is insane.
Standing right here, like the light has to be perfect, but right in here, I can see these letters. See where that's coming through there? You can look for hours and hours. See, I moved to right here. I can't see those.
Yeah.
But what that says across here, it says Muncrief Hog Farm.
Wow.
On the other side, it says we don't rent pigs. And there's people think I'm lying because they look and can't see it, and then all of a sudden you walk by and there it is.
Right.
So the airbrush artist that did me had a God-given talent. He did this whole thing in less than 2 hours. He just had
Wow. This is amazing. Now let me ask you this: let me see if the camera can catch this thing. Says the redneck Cadillac. Why do you? How you came up with this kind of name?
In the one thing in the culture when I first started this, I worked at a Chevy Cadillac dealership, and we had a conversion company that was doing a truck with some wood inside and stuff, and they called it the Cowboy Cadillac, which a lot of people call a pickup a Cowboy Cadillac in this area. And so I said, okay, I'm going to have a redneck Cadillac, but this is the redneck Cadillac.
One of a kind.
This one of a kind.
Right.
And
right.
so that's where that came from.
Right.
Is from the from the cowboy redneck country philosophy. That's a Cadillac to the rancher and the farmer.
Great. Now, guys, this truck, trust me, you have not even seen 20% of this truck yet, and I'm already mind blown. Now, the stuff that you need to see is the interior and the back part of this. Obviously, there's a light a little low in this garage, so we like to pull the truck out in the sun so you can see crisp visuals of this truck. Before we do that, I think if the camera can show us a little bit from inside, which I don't think you can catch very much because of the dark light inside. But right now we are going to pull it outwards for the same reason. All right, guys, I hope you have enjoyed so far. The interior is yet to come, but the engine of this spaceship, I would say, now the time is for us to talk about the bed of this truck. Trust me, the video may not do the justice to the intricacy and the fineness, the finesse of this thing. But Mr. Rex, please describe to us. I mean, I can see all these flame cut on the wood shape, and that must have taken forever for you to do that. Plus, the flame matches the airbrush in the front. So please go ahead. I'd rather shut up and let you explain.
What created the wood bed is, like I said earlier, when I got this truck, the sides were all caved in and bashed in and needed paint and were all rusty. And so I had found some new quarter panels and we're going to put them on it. So when I took the old ones off, and then I was running out of time and needed to drive it to work the next day, the piece up there at the front of the cab was just loose. And so I just grabbed a 2x4 and stuck it up there and ran it from that to the fender well just to hold that up. And I backed up and looked at it and I said, that'd be a whole lot easier than doing all the body work and the body panels and the paint. And so originally it just had straight boards and it was all red, white, and blue and stars and stripes. But then when I decided to go to the flames, I cut these boards out for the flames. This is just a normal 2x12 from Home Depot, just a normal piece of pine wood. And there's 3 pieces on each side and the tailgate. And I cut all those out in about 6 hours and routed them. And so I just did the flames on it. I cut those out. It took about 6 hours to cut it all out and to route it. And then there's 4 coats of a urethane on here that has a UV protectant. It'll last about 10 years, even in our sunshine. And so it's very good, and it's good for outdoor stuff and everything.
So you have not painted it since then? It's just like one time?
I did just redo this about 10 months ago, but prior to that, it had been 10 years since I put any urethane on it.
Wow.
And I redid the bed when I got the truck. There was
have the camera see the bed inside first.
When I got it, there was only 1 piece of wood in the bed. The rest was all rotten and broken and gone. And so I cut new boards and put in there, put new wood. This is the original fender wells. All I did was put a piece of angle iron here to bolt the boards to, bolted them to the wheel well and to the front. And so that way I can take them off and redo them.
So how long it took you just to do the bed?
Just to do the bed, to refinish the bed, it takes a long time because you got to wait 24 hours in between coats.
Right.
But as far as just cutting out all the flames on the bed here, it took me about 6 to 7 hours.
Wow.
And then I routed all of routing them and cutting them out took about 8 hours. And I start something, I just go. I finish. I don't take breaks. I don't stop.
I'm sure this is a back-breaking job, but when you love something, you don't care. You just want to get done and show the world what you created. Now, please explain to me, if you don't mind, this is the big wooden case up there. Usually people have metallic cases on their trucks, but obviously to go with the theme of this wood, you made this yourself too.
Yes.
Guys, look at that. Let me show you a little close-up of that. Please read that for me. And what does it mean, though?
Where that comes from is from the miniseries called Lonesome Dove with Robert Duvall and Tommy Jones. They did a series about going on, and it was based on a real story about them taking a cattle drive from Texas up to Montana and herding cattle. And that was an old sign they had on their place down at Lonesome Dove on the Rio Grande River in Texas. That was a sign that Gus McCrae had that he put on the side of their wagon and carried it all the way to Montana. It says there, "We don't rent pigs." Everybody sees that and reads it. Anybody that knows the culture and knows Lonesome Dove will look and say, "Hey, Lonesome Dove." They don't even have to read the sign. But when they say "we don't rent pigs," they'll look at it and they'll say, hey, Lonesome Dove. And I said, no, Lonesome Dove came out in the 80s. In the 70s, my dad brought an old truck home. He went in the house. It was all rusty, had green paint. My brother and I got yellow paint and wrote Muncrief Hog Farm on it and put, we don't rent pigs. We don't know where it came from. We didn't, but we put it on there. So that was long before Lonesome Dove.
And go ahead.
The box was built to put, because with fuel injection, I had to put my tank under the bed. So I couldn't have a spare in here. So I built the box big enough to put my spare tire and all my tools and carry my luggage when I go to car shows. And it's all right there in one place.
Wonderful. Let's, guys, look at that. I don't know if the camera can see up close, but this is called gas hole. This is very creative. I just can barely, you know, I mean, I just saw it and this is amazing. This tiny bit.
The wood here, the design on it, this is just a regular oak.
Yeah.
But I had the airbrush artist that did the flames.
Right.
I have some old boards in my house that my closet doors are made out of. And he took pictures of those and then he airbrushed it onto this wood.
Yeah.
He even airbrushed the watermarks that were on the wood because they came from an old shed that was over 100 years old. Perfect. So his talent just let him, you can take that in the house, hold it up against my door, and it looks like a mirror.
Wonderful.
And so he did all of that. And then this original wheel wells.
Now let's talk about, let me show you the plate in the back. Now this plate called Redneck. So, and we talked about
when I got this truck in 1985, everybody was saying that, boy, that, and so in New Mexico, when you file for a personalized license plate, you get 3 options.
And you had no problem getting this plate?
And so my first option was Redneck, and then my second was RD neck, and then R neck. And I figured surely somebody in New Mexico had Redneck. This was in 1985. About 6 weeks later, that came in the mail. So I got my first option.
Nice.
And so that's been on there since 1985. My taillights or big spaces.
Yeah, I just noticed.
Because I was raised on a hog farm, lived on a hog farm, raised pigs and everything. So when I saw these taillights, I said, they've got to be on there. These were made in Australia. I got them through Moon Equipment because in the car culture, especially 50s and 60s, every hot rod had moon eyes on it. It was a company called Moon Equipment. And so I had moon eyes on the truck, and I was looking through it for things and saw those. I said, I got to have them. So I put those on.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, guys, so I hope you enjoyed looking at the truck bed. This is still not the best part of the truck. The best is still yet to come. All right, guys, I am so excited to show you the best part of the truck. So far, you have seen the back of this truck, which is the bed, which is one of a kind thing. You have seen the engine with the fry pan in there, with the bacon and the omelet in there, with a revolver, dipstick. I mean, the list is long, but let me get to the main part, which has always amazed me. And I can guarantee you right now, you will not find anything like this in this whole world. Here's Mr. Rex, the builder, the pioneer, and the mastermind behind this craziness. All yours, sir.
Basically, I started out on the interior with this wood. This wood came out of a barn in Carlsbad, New Mexico, of my grandfather's that was built in the 1800s out of used lumber. So this wood on the dash, on the back, that's all over 125, 130 years old. It's 2 complete cow hides that cover the door panels, the floor, the headliner. You might be a redneck if your leather still has hair on it. And so that's all on there. I couldn't find a wooden steering wheel I liked, so I made the wooden steering wheel.
So let me ask you this first, because this thing worth a mention here. What is this thing? This is like a door handle?
This opens the door.
Can you please show that?
This is what I was telling you about with Dale Robertson. The car he had that got this truck in my mind was the gun handles on here. He had a rifle. I even have a rare Buffalo Bill BB gun up here.
How about if the camera can show us and you can show us up close so the camera can see it that way?
In there, and I'll start.
That way we can
I can just point out stuff.
Yes.
The speedometers on these things are always terrible, so I put a tablet right over there in the center of my dash, and that's where I can read my speedometer from there. since I had that on there, I put my old music in there that you can't hear on radio stations anymore. And I play it through a Bluetooth speaker into that drive-in movie speaker. For you that don't know what a drive-in movie speaker was, when you went to the movie, you hung the speaker on your window and listened to the movie through that. So there's a 3-inch Bluetooth speaker in there playing the music. These badges are badges I've collected, people have given me. These are rodeo buckles of mine and stuff. The saddle was my grandkid's car seat. That's why it's got a seat belt on it. They all grew up riding. They used to fight over who got to ride on the saddle. So they rode on that till they're too big. Now they're even too big to sit in the seats because they're all taller than I am.
Please explain to me the steering. This is very interesting, the steering wheel.
Just, I wanted a wooden steering wheel, and nothing really fit and matched my truck, so I just got some ash. That's ash wood. I bought a piece of ash. I cut it out. I shaped it. I put it on there, put an adapter on it, and hooked it up for my steering wheel.
And this is the wipers?
No, that's my signal lights.
The signal lights. Again, guys, the revolver. I mean,
your left, right signal light. That's right there.
Look at that.
This truck has some technology behind it. It has a redneck cruise control.
Look at that, guys. This is the cruise control.
You push the stick down to go faster.
Who could have thought of that?
The seat back to go slower.
There you go. Redneck cruise control. It even says.
All you have to remember is when you
look at the pedals too.
When you're going 70 miles an hour and the light changes and you need to stop, pull the stick off the gas before you push in on the clutch, because it will wake you up.
Look at these pedals too. There's a horseshoe on it, on these cutout. The size of the horse feet, I guess, or the hooves.
The old gas cap, the tank used to be inside the bed on these, and this is a mason jar lid that was my old gas tank lid. My shifter boot is a custom boot that I had made years ago that I still have the other one in there, but I don't wear them anymore because I only got one. But that's my shifter boot. And then the wood, there's coins covering up all of the screws so that none of the screws are showing or anything. There's all kinds of memorabilia in there. I have silver dollars on the dash. There's one silver dollar that's from 1829.
Which one is that? Let me steal that one.
Okay. I've got that one nailed down. And
when are you going?
It's got 180 volts to it, so touch it.
Touch it. You said you were going to go to the restroom in a moment. When are you going to the restroom?
I'll hold it.
You go, take it easy, relieve yourself.
No, I don't trust you now. I don't trust you anymore.
Like, guys, look here. I'm here doing some awesome review, and Mr. Rex is not trusting me. All right, I don't blame you. All right, so...
These are genuine redneck bucket seats. And I've driven over 1,700 miles on these seats. My wife sits on a pillow on road trips, but I just ride the seat just like it is. The only thing you got to remember, if it's been sitting out in the sun, you put a towel over it, because if you sit down on that hot metal, you'll have a JD branded on your cheeks.
It will be like those steaks that they put their signature on it. All right, guys, I'm inside. Mr. Rex is not around, so let me just take this time to
What the heck are you doing in my truck? I told you not to touch anything.
I just said... I thought
Get out.
I thought you just left for the restroom.
Don't think. Just get out of my truck.
Come on, I just sat in there. I was just trying to steal one of these badges from here. I mean, do you have a telepathic power or something?
I can tell him as far as I see him, but he gets close, I can't tell him nothing.
Come on. You gotta trust me. All right, guys, so we are pretty much done with the review of this truck, but one thing caught my eye right now. Mr. Rex, I can see this underneath the mufflers, and what is that? Can you please explain that to me?
This is for the cutouts coming from the exhaust. That comes right off the headers. That little black thing is a little motor, and when you flip the switch, it opens a butterfly and lets the exhaust come through here instead of going all the way back through the mufflers and coming out at the back.
Very neat.
And then I wanted to make it easier to keep it clean and have it shiny on the frame. So I put these were side moldings off of old cars, Ford LTDs and stuff. Always had these big wide chrome side moldings. So I just mounted those onto the frame just for I wanted the truck to be complete, top, bottom, in, out, all over. And then back here, I ran it back here on the frame, put a little bit of the flames in it and everything. put the design in it, so that's why. And I wanted it to blend in with the flames and everything. These were white letter tires. I bought a yellow tire marker, and I made the Michelin yellow instead of white, so it'll stand out better.
Beautiful. I noticed so many great things on this side which were not possible to capture from that side. So please go ahead and tell us more about this crazy interior.
Again, you have the same gun handle, the guns on the door handles and those things. This has a working 8-track tape player for people that don't know what an 8-track is. This precedes the cassette and the DVD and the CDs. There was 12 songs on these that had 4 tracks. You stick it in there and play it with the tape. So this is still working. I was driving down the highway one day going about 80 miles an hour, and I said, I bet I'm the only person in the world right now who's driving a 68 Chevy pickup, sitting on a tractor seat on a bucket, listening to Red Sylvain sing Teddy Bear on an 8-track tape. And so that still works.
What is that bag hanging there?
That is a bull scrotum.
What?
And everybody says, what? People tan them and make them for litter bags.
That deserves a great...
People say, what's that for? And so when they ask what it is, I tell them that I keep my nuts in it.
Wow. Well, that surely makes me jealous. I don't know why it's there, but it's really something.
It's hard to explain to some people because they don't know what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
I've got my old spurs up here. As you want to get in there, you can see I have a rare Buffalo Bill BB gun made by Daisy.
Look at that.
That's very, very rare. I've never seen another one like it. I'm sure there are some.
And what is that silver thing? What is that? Is it like a wireless? Or...
That is the drive-in movie speaker.
Oh,
that's what that is.
Great.
The seats are from an 1847 John Deere tractor, and they're just sitting on a galvanized bucket.
Guys, I will pay $1,000 to someone who can come and sit on that seat when it's 105 degrees outside in New Mexico heat. Once you do that, send me a picture of yourself. I'll pay for your treatment, and I'll pay $100. I said 1,000, I guess. I'll pay 1,000. It would be worth.
I'll sit on it right now for 50 cents.
This offer is not for you, sir. This is the offer. This offer is for our.
I have sit on it.
Alrighty. Now, you have the buffalo hide in there, or
this is a cowhide. It came out of Bolivia. Is where it came out of, but it was a cowhide. They call it a tiger something. It had the stripe on it, kind of like what I call a Brennel hide. This is where, like down the backbone, where the hair was longer. That's what that mane is for.
Okay.
And then it's in the headliner too.
Nice. And what is that picture with the horse? Is this your grand?
That is Roy Rogers and Dale Evans.
Oh,
Roy Rogers is the 3rd greatest person ever born.
Uh-huh.
And he was always an idol of mine. I met him one time, and I just always...
So he's the 3rd greatest, so I'm the 2nd greatest, and then who's the 1st?
You're not even listening. I don't think you're even...
Guys,
sure.
I'm not even on the horizon. Okay, that's all right.
And so, like I say, it's just fun. If you can't look at my truck and smile, I'm afraid nobody can help you.
Well, Mr. Rex, it's been an absolute pleasure. And plus, on top of that, you are so gracious to describe these things to us on this 100 degrees temperature outside. But hey, this is New Mexico, and we don't care about the heat. It's dry heat, so it doesn't bother us. But this is awesome. As I said earlier, I've never seen anything like that. We would like to go on a ride, if you don't mind, so we can just see how it moves, what kind of, I just can't wait to be inside and just take a little ride on it.
Let's go.
Oh my goodness. Whoa. Well, I'm a Lamborghini guy, but this thing beats my Lamborghini. So guys, This is Dr. Fastlane. Man, I have no words. The experience that I had today with Mr. Rex and this beauty, this truck, is out of this world. I mean, I had no clue, that this truck was capable of that kind of speed from inside to outside, from the front to the end. It's a marvel to look at. It's an eye candy in every respect. And Mr. Rex, please help me have the pleasure to open the door for you, sir. One of the nicest men alive on this earth, and he has explained everything graciously and patiently, even though I was being a brat a little bit in the middle of that. But thanks for putting up with that, Mr. Rex. I just cannot thank you enough.
What you have to remember with a redneck, if a little bit will do a little bit of good, a whole lot will do a whole lot of good.
I totally understand and agree with that. God bless you, sir.
You too. God bless you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys coming.
Take care.
You're great.
Okay, guys, this is Dr. Fastlane signing off. See you in the next video. Bye-bye and take care.